Well, hello and welcome to the Photography Pubcast. This is by the way, it's season 5.
Who said it wasn't?
Wow.
Last time I said, is it 5 or 4? And you guys said it was 4. And I put it out as season 4 and then realised it's season 5.
Oh.
We've been here that long.
Blimey.
So anyway, it's season 5, episode 5. I hope you guys are well. There's 7 of us here this week. Stuart's not here, but we do have a special guest. So let's all say hello to Alister Benn. Hello, Alister.
Hi everyone. Hi,
Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah. Ooh, friend. Ooh. Yeah, it's great to see you, Alister. And Alister will be joining in with all of the ridiculous conversation that we're going to have for the next hour or so, or 2 hours. I think before we get started, Adam hasn't been on for a while. Have you, Adam?
No, I have not.
No, and Adam hasn't got round to watching the episode where Daz explains something about Adam's prints. Has he, Daz?
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, really, we should make Adam painfully go back and watch like about 10 hours of the Photography Pubcast in order to find that bit that we're referring to. But no, I'll put you out your misery, Adam. Adam, I owe you some money, mate. And I you know I blame the framers.
You found the print in your cupboard.
I found the print safely in this room here, in between 2 pieces of cardboard. I looked after it, and that's why I thought I took it to the framers. And it was such a nice print. I actually encapsulated it in 2 pieces of cardboard, and you very kindly sent me another print free of charge. So I owe you some money, my friend.
Just send it straight to me.
Also, you sent me a book as well. That got lost in the post. What else?
And a workshop. Didn't you lose a workshop?
I lost a workshop. I can't believe I lost the workshop and my airfare.
Yeah.
Hey, man, anything we go past me, I mean, Alistair can tell you. I'm always forgetting things.
No, I owe you the money, mate, because I'm going to give that print away. So
I sent a print to someone the other day, and I'd already sent them one. Yeah.
Great business, Adam. Great business.
We'll have a workshop, and we're supposed to have 8 people, and we'll have like 10 people.
12. There was 12 turned up, man.
Yeah, but just think of all the extra money, Alistair.
It was great.
That I made.
Exactly.
Did they actually pay you though, or were they just workshop crashers? Did they just see a workshop and think, "Oh, join in"?
No, to be fair, one woman, I think she showed up. She wasn't supposed to show up until the next workshop. She got the dates wrong. So
did you give her a free
story?
You give her? Yeah.
No,
once people I'm on them, they just, it's crashing.
Oh, they're flocking in, are they? They're flocking in. Yeah. Okay, Dave, how are you, mate?
All right. Yes. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. You're okay. Good. We haven't seen you for a few weeks, have we? But it's nice to have you back.
No, there's been some trauma in the background.
Yes. Yeah. But it's not you, though, Dave, is it, who sold all your camera gear, is it? Just to clarify, because we were talking about that last week and someone went, is it Dave? I'm worried it's Dave who sold all his camera gear. It's not you, is it, Dave?
I couldn't get anything for my camera gear. It would be a case of giving it away, not selling it.
Yeah. But so you're still out with the camera. You're all good.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. So let's do a little bit of admin before we go any further. The competition, we've had 41 entries. They're all up on the website if you want to take a look at them. The competition doesn't close until the New Year's Eve. Well, 23:59 on New Year's Eve. So you've got loads of time to get those in, and the link will be below to send those to us. Jeff Walls, who's watching, hopefully, you sent me 4, Jeff. And I sent you an email saying, which 2 of the 4 do you want me to keep? And you haven't replied to me. So let me know which 2. But they're decent, aren't they? Decent images.
They're good.
Check out the website.
There's a couple of really nice ones in there.
Yeah.
I must admit, I shouldn't say it, but when I scrolled through, one jumped out at me straight away. That's a firm favourite almost instantly. So I think, kind of. But
That'll be Adam's.
Please keep them coming in, because they.
I do like to enter a good contest.
I wondered who Alan Giggs was. Now it makes sense. I thought I'd never heard of him before. Anyway, moving on from that, because we won't talk about that bit. We'll pretend that bit never happened, and no one will know what we were talking about. You see. Moving on. How are we all? How's your 2 weeks since we've been on, Ben? And let's start with Alister. Actually, how's your lifetime since you've been on here been? Now, how's your last couple of weeks been?
Pretty good. Out here in the Isle of Lewis. Just got back from my last workshop of the year. I was running a workshop here on the island, and then we're over in the Cairngorms for a few days. So that's me kind of off workshops until January. So I've got a little bit of time to kind of catch up with admin and just being home. So yeah, pretty good. It doesn't feel like Christmas at all. Normally Christmas and New Year, and because my birthday's in December too, so normally December's a kind of exciting month, but I just don't feel it at all this year. We're in a rental place, so we don't have any Christmas decorations up. So it doesn't feel very Christmassy, but we're going over to the mainland for to be with my mum for Christmas. So we'll be there for like the 20th. So if we can get off the island on a ferry.
Yeah, the weather's looking a bit brutal for you guys, aren't they? Over the
We've had some
tomorrow and Sunday,
storms.
especially you, Dave.
Well, that's why Stu isn't here, by the way, because he took an earlier ferry because he was worrying that he wasn't going to make it home because he's actually on. Is he on Harrison?
I think he was on Harris. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So he took an early ferry today because the weather's getting worse, isn't it? So he couldn't make it. But
it's been good.
So how is it living out there? How is it living
it's
out there?
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, we're building a house, so we're kind of all in building this house now. So it's amazing. We moved out in May, so we really like it. I think it takes a bit of a lifestyle change. You know, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you know the supermarkets aren't filled with all the things that you get on the mainland, and if the ferries are off, then the shelves get a bit bare and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's stark. But you've got the ocean and big skies, and Lewis is a lot quieter than Harris. I mean, it's paradise for us. I mean, we just love it.
How long is the ferry?
Hang on. Hang on. Important question coming in. Uber Eats or Just Eat, or can you get any of that?
I wouldn't use them on the mainland anyway. So no, we don't have that. No, you just stop a passing sheep and carve a bit off.
Oh, okay.
We stopped passing sheep for an entirely different reason.
Okay. Sorry, now you can speak, Daz. I'll let you speak now.
Thank you. No, I was going to say, how long is the ferry trip from Lewis to the mainland?
Ullapool to Stornoway is 2 hours 45.
Oh,
so it's a fair old way.
Away then.
Yeah, right, it's longer than crossing over to Ireland from Scotland.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a fair old way, and
that's quite nice. And that is isolation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's like the Isle of Skye got really popular, you know, and with the bridge, it's people can go whenever they want. And when the ferry used to go across to Skye, that limited the number of people who could go. So thankfully, we're too far off the mainland for any bridges, so it's not as busy as some of the mainland parts.
Very nice. What about you, Adam? Because I know you've been out doing workshops and bits and pieces. How's your time been since you last were on?
Yeah, it was really good, actually. We lucked out with the weather, I think. In Scotland, we had good weather for the first workshop, and then the weather crapped out for 4 days. So we just sat around in Paul's van, which wasn't much fun. And then it got nice again. So, yeah, it was really good. Oh, yeah, it's probably one of my better trips to Scotland, I think, weather-wise.
Whereabouts was you, Adam?
We were just in Glencoe. We just spent all our time there.
Right.
But it was, I'd never really spent that much time in Glencoe, but it's a nice place. I'd like to climb some of the mountains, but we just didn't have time. And the weather's, it's not the greatest this time of year, you know.
Short days.
That kind of stuff.
as an experienced mountain climber in Glencoe, I would say to you that if you're going to do it, right, don't go with 4 other guys who've had a beer and you haven't.
Yeah, right.
It's
4
no
beers.
fun. Yeah,
4
it's
beers.
no fun. I
Yeah.
can tell you. Okay, so you had a good time though. And Paul, all right?
Yeah. It was a bit of a bummer because we had a couple of workshops in Canada and we got COVID, both of us.
Did you?
And then
Oh wow.
off one of our clients, and then
I'll teach you
back-
to overbook.
Yeah.
well, then I got back the day before yesterday, and I'm sick again. So I don't know if it's COVID or just a cold, but yeah, everybody's hacking on the plane. It's not good,
Yeah.
you know.
No.
And of course, I was up at 4 a.m. this morning, so I still got a bit of jet lag.
So if you fall asleep, we'll understand. Don't worry.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I'm just packing books anyway, so
Oh, okay.
that's all.
Why are you packing books, Adam?
It was a good plug, that.
Yeah, it was, wasn't
It was a
it?
great plug.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it, I have my books out finally.
I saw you looking around for a book, so you could show somebody. I mean,
I have piles of them back here.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I have a book. It's called Land and Light, and it's shipping now,
Is it?
just before Christmas.
Ooh. So if someone were to order one now, they might get it in time for Christmas, Adam.
Yes, they probably would.
Wow, amazing. Not that we're plugging anything on here at all, are we? Yeah,
Even though
below,
Canada Post is on strike, but that's okay.
You'll personally deliver it, won't you, to make sure they get it by Christmas?
Definitely.
If you have to.
It's quite funny actually, because when I flew to the UK, it was cheaper for me to bring books with me. So I brought 4 bags of books with me. So I had 200 pounds of books.
Wow.
And I had to haul them over on the ferry. That was the hard part, getting them from the ferry to the taxi. And then once I got to the airport, just stacked them all up on the cart and
why did you bring all the books? Is it like currency? Like you get in an Uber, rather than paying them, you just give them a book. When you go and get something to eat, rather than paying the bill, you just give them a book. Is that how it works?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, shipping is just ridiculous right now. If I ship directly from here to the UK, it's about $50-$60 per book.
Wow.
Which is just crazy. And by bringing them over on the plane, it ends up being about $25 per book.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
So I have a guy that's just distributing them in Scotland, actually.
So technically, Adam, what you could do is you could hire a book mule.
Right.
They're really hard to swallow, though.
Yeah, I tried sticking one up my ass, but it just didn't fit.
Yeah,
that should be get half a book.
That should be on the cover, shouldn't it? That should be the thing. Great book, not easy to stick up arse. That'd be good.
Just wear a big overcoat.
Yeah. Want to buy a book? Anyway, Sam, how's your couple of weeks been?
It's been good. I was trying to work out actually if I've been out much, and I don't think I have. I don't think I've been out to do any photography actually. So yeah, but not very interesting from a photography point of view. Went to a sort of awards ceremony thing last weekend in Inverness with my parents, which was fun. Got myself on the Gallic television, which was good. But yeah,
what's that for?
It's traditional music awards. It's actually organised by my aunt, so she got us a table, so it was good. It was really good actually. Really enjoyed it. I don't know much about traditional Scottish music, but it was it was really good event. What else have I been up to? Not much. I'm off to Switzerland next week for work. So
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so just been getting ready for that. Oh, and I've revamped my office as well. We were talking about getting sciatica earlier. I've bought myself finally got one of these standing desks, which was a slightly reluctant purchase, but I've got to say I'm super impressed by it. It's really good. So so if I start going up and down like this, it's just that's my standing desk. But yeah, no, very little in the way of photography at the moment. So
okay. Dave, what about you, mate?
Nothing much going on other than Mrs. G's health issues and work. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
I still take the camera out when I'm walking the dog, so I'm making maybe one image per fortnight at the moment is my hit rate. I'm fortunate because where I live, I've usually got something to point the camera at, so I get my fix on a Saturday morning, but that's about it.
Away from photography, out in the real world, Dave, have you had any issues on any of your groups or anything like that you might want to share?
I had an issue, but I suppose you could argue that it's my problem. The other people might not see it as an issue. It's that we have one rule on the photography group, and that rule is very simple: don't be an arse. And you can interpret that how you like, but I didn't want to have people apply to join and they get 10 rules and they have to say yes, I accept the rules, and then a bunch of admins police them like little Hitlers. So the group is mostly Micro Four Thirds landscapes. So it's mostly, if you want to put in a Canon R5 shot, who cares? If you want to do a street shot or, fine art or whatever, who cares? Just, don't overload it with stuff that isn't Micro Four Thirds landscapes. So I have people on my behalf commenting, well, that's not Micro Four Thirds, that's not a landscape. And you just kind of think, look, we don't need your help. We're perfectly capable of pointing it out in the event that every image they posted wasn't Micro Four Thirds landscapes, but otherwise, shut the fuck up. And so I put a post up to that effect, and then I got a debate around that. So yeah, I won't back down. I'm not going to go, oh, I can't possibly upset people. If you're breaching the don't be an arse rule, you'll get shown the door anyway without any debate. But yeah, so that pissed me off this week.
I also, Dave, heard a rumour that you've got a real pit bull now as an admin that you've just taken on.
I have, yes. Yeah. So we've anointed Alan Coles.
You don't mess with Alan, do you?
Let him loose, and then I can take a step back. I don't have to involve myself quite so much because, to be fair, Justin's very good as well. He doesn't take any nonsense.
Yeah, but Alan Coles is like the Malcolm Tucker of photography groups, isn't he? You don't mess around with him, or you don't mess around with him. Okay.
So which group is this?
Mostly Micro Four Thirds landscapes.
Yes, it's mostly
on Facebook.
Mostly. Yeah,
I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, apart from listening to lovely little ditties that get sent to me, which made me happy yesterday, which we may or may not talk about. I don't know. But we'll come on to that later, shall we?
We might.
Okay. But no, not a great deal, mate, to be fair. No, I did have a wander out with the camera on Saturday and took one photograph in about 5 hours of trying. It wasn't a very successful trip at all. But yeah, so not a great deal. I do actually have an update on the my long issue with not being able to get a decent broadband connection.
Oh no, really? You've got a Wi-Fi update, broadband? Oh, I've been desperate. I've been sitting here thinking, when is Jamie going to tell us about his broadband issues again?
Well, hence why I'm bringing it up, Gary, because I just knew that you would be chomping at the bit to know. No, I'm not going to. You're taking them out. I'm not going to do it.
Are you digging another trench?
No, the company that refused a year ago is now coming back again for another attempt. They claim this time they are going to dig the road up outside and put a pipe in just for me. But we'll wait and see. But that's the update. So they're having another go.
And there was me, right, thinking this whole episode was going to be like really popular because Alister was coming on, and I found out that we got your broadband update. So, God, I mean, that's I'm going to have to put that in the title now. The comments are going to be full of it. Yeah, I'm just going to be like literally broadband update. That's going to be the title of it. Brilliant. Thanks, Jamie.
No problem.
You've made my day. Daz, what have you been up to?
Well, I had quite an eventful weekend last weekend. I went up to the lakes.
Oh, yeah.
And I planned to go out on the Friday afternoon, which I did, and the forecast was good. I managed to get a couple of nice images on the Friday afternoon. But as it was leading up to the weekend, I planned to hike Scar Fell on the Saturday, but it was a long hike. It was about a 10-mile round trip, which picked up kind of 2 Wainwrights. But as I was getting closer and closer, the weather was just not suitable for that hike. So I decided on the Friday, I was there obviously on the Friday, went out on the Friday afternoon, but I decided on the Friday that the next day, being the Saturday, I would hike Great Gable. So I got to Wasdale kind of just before sunrise, and as I got out the car, I looked at the cloud base, and it was so low, and I bowed on Great Gable back in June because again the conditions were bad, and I just thought, oh, I don't want to go up there, all that effort, and not see the view. Now, I have to say that I've been hiking for many years, and I've got so much respect for the mountains, no matter where they are. I've got a lot of respect for the weather. I don't take nothing kind of lightly. But I really wanted to go for a hike, and so I decided to go up U Barrow. U Barrow 625 meters, so it's smaller than the other two. Now, it's the pathway to the summit is straight up. It is literally straight up, but you get about halfway, and the path veers off to the left, and I had no visibility. It was quite windy and everything was wet, but I got halfway to the point where I could go left a lot longer to the summit, but come round, or keep going straight up. But the path was good. So I decided I've got all the time in the world today. I'm going to go straight up. What I didn't realise, because it was almost like my spur of the moment choice on the day, was the path ended and it was a grade 2 scramble. And so I got up the first section thinking, oh, crikey, you know, if I kind of come down this way, I'm going to have to be really careful. Then I've come across another set of rocks, which was a little bit more challenging to get up. And then I'm halfway up that thinking, I'm not going to be able to get down here. I've got to keep going. And I managed to get to that section. And then a bit further up, there was another section of scramble. And it was the first time I'd ever thought I could be in serious trouble here. And I could see this kind of ridge at the top. And my footholds were about 2 inches, not even the width of my boot. The handholds was nothing I could kind of get my fingers into and pull myself up. There was things that you would kind of put in your hand on the top. And behind me now was not quite a sheer drop, but everything was soaking wet. And if I would have slipped, I would have just carried on going. I could see this ridge, and I managed somehow to get to this ridge. And then when I looked over the top, there was a sheer drop on the other side. And at that point, I just thought, yeah, this could be the first time that I actually called mountain rescue out here. But anyway, I managed to go round the side. And unbeknown to me, I was then on the safe path. But because there was zero visibility, I didn't know what was coming up ahead of me. So the rest of the hike, which was probably about 45 minutes, like it was my heart was in my mouth. I was looking at my map and I could see the contour lines, kind of stretching out. So I thought I was safe, but until I kind of got to the top, I didn't quite realise how safe I was. But yeah, it was a bit scary, and I think that's the only time that I've felt very, very uneasy on the side of a fell. But that was it was my third option. I had no planning for that fell whatsoever. So, yeah.
Still not as interesting as Jamie's broadband.
It's not, no, but I tried to big it up the best I could and make it as exciting as I could.
Just out of interest, that this is the weekend you invited me to, wasn't it?
It was, and you know what? Honestly, this is I thought of you when I was going up there, because I thought to myself, I thought if he was with me now, we would both be banging trouble. Because I did, because I thought, I don't know.
Because I'm an unfit fat bastard, mainly.
So how was your week? How was your week?
I didn't do anything. I didn't go off any stupid fails. I've got no broadband going on, and I've got nothing exciting to report really. In fact, I've got nothing at all. I've got nothing. Yeah, nothing exciting for me at all, really.
Well, then you should have come to the lakes with me. Then you've had something to talk about.
I should have done. Yeah, I would have done. Yeah. Did you find the toilet?
Daz, don't you feel alive now? Don't you feel? Oh yeah, done something exciting.
I can't. I definitely felt alive when I was up that fell. I was thinking, crikey, I could die any second here now.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But I didn't. No. But
I want to do it again now.
I never take risks. I really
next time, bring your wingsuit with you.
No.
Yeah, Red Bull on
it. To be honest, Adam, I feel similar to how Daz feels when I go for I go for a chicken royale instead of like.
You're going to say go for a dump.
No. Yeah, I mean,
when you reheat a chicken burger. When you reheat a chicken burger, it's that dicing with death. Is it going to be okay? Is it not going to be okay?
It's probably the same thing that could happen to Daz. To be fair, it's the same kind of it's the excitement. Now, before we get onto a topic, I think we need to talk about comments because we, and I'm looking at all of us here, except for you, Alister, because you're new for this week. We've been neglectful. Nothing to do with you. We've been very neglectful of the topic of the comments. We haven't discussed people's comments for several weeks, yes, and it's not good enough, is it? So we need to, knuckle down and talk.
Can I just say that I do read them all, and I like every single one, unless I don't like them. Obviously, then I don't bother. Some
people be watching out for that now, Daz.
Right.
Listen, we read the comments regularly, but we really should be discussing them more often on here because that's part of the, us being interactive with the people who watch. So. With that in mind, Adam, what's your favourite comment this week? No, to be fair, Adam, you're jet lagged. You've only just got back. It's fine. It's fine. Does anyone want to pick up on any comments? Because I've got a few that I want to pick up on. But do any of you guys want to?
Because you've got them all lined up, and my memory's not very good. But I have liked the vast majority.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a few here. There was one from that I wanted to pick up from Jeff Walls again. Actually, I know we discussed him about putting in 4 images, but he said that you're a killjoy, Daz, essentially, because of my suggestion that all of the images in the competition should be from 2024, and he thought that was a good idea. And he was very disappointed in you. So
sorry, mate. You can't please everybody.
Yeah. No. Equally, Carl Edwards. He wanted to say thanks. I think he wanted to say thanks to us. Thanks for this, guys. I've seriously been considering selling my kit after losing love for it at the moment. Sold a few lenses, but think it might just be best to put it away for a while and hope to get the bug back. So,
definitely,
we've done a service there by talking about that and suggesting that you don't sell your kit. So, and actually, Carl's put in a couple of images for the competition. So,
well done.
So so all is good there. So don't sell your kit, Carl. Seriously. No. Don't sell your kit. There was one guy who I didn't collect. Here you go. Mike Page Coltenberg says, "Ibis in the lens." Scoff, scoff.
Oh, I saw that comment. Yeah,
isn't that a contradiction?
I know he was joking, but I didn't like.
Yeah, well, he's done a little jokey face, which is just as well because otherwise I'd have just said pedant. You know what we mean.
He was joking.
We mean image stabilization. Yeah. So, God, get over it. And then there's Andrew Banner as well, who also pulled me up on saying that because we were talking about ibis, and then I cracked a joke and said ibis for anyone is a South African antelope, which I know is an ibex, by the way, and not an ibis. And they got pulled up on that because it actually you'll find ibis is a bird, but actually I wasn't referring to ibis the bird. I was referring to an ibex when I was making the joke. So. Up yours. No, sorry. No, we know Andrew. He's a nice guy, but come on, give me some credit, man. I know I look stupid, probably sound stupid at times, but I'm not that stupid.
Right there.
Sorry.
I said, put that right there. That'd be fine.
You've not mentioned Codgicam. That's a cracking name as well. Cracking name, Codgicam. I like that.
You're desperate for this, aren't you, Jamie?
No, I didn't know whether you were going to mention it. He asks, I think one thing the podcast lacks is a theme song music for the intro, outro. Since you have musical talent available in the group, Sam, Alister, potentially.
Yeah.
There's some guitars behind it.
Dave?
If you were to have a
They're
theme
props.
song, what would it be? Okay. Yeah. So
Well,
you hadn't
you're-
mentioned. I didn't know why you hadn't mentioned that one, Gary.
Well, they'll be pleased to
Well,
know that
because-
we do have a theme tune, don't we,
Yes.
Gary?
We do.
Well,
It's brilliant.
I was mucking about with ChatGPT, and there's a website called Udio. So if you can literally write, you can do text to music. So I could just like literally go write me a song about the pubcast. It wouldn't really have much context, but because I use ChatGPT to write the lyrics and then put the lyrics in, it's written us a pubcast song. So I know, Jamie, that you're desperate that I play it, aren't you? Aren't you? Be honest.
Yeah.
I think we should hear it. I think the world should hear this fantastic little ditty that
Can
you've
you just
created.
cut it in later? Because I
Yeah.
can't bear it.
Do you not like it, Dave? No. Yeah, but Alistair hasn't heard it. And
No, don't play it.
Well,
now.
don't spoil
play
his
it
year
now.
by playing it to him.
Don't bring me into this.
Yeah, exactly.
I can speak for myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll play it now.
Welcome to the Pubcast, pull up a chair. We got cameras lost and pints to spare. 7 misfits with tales to share. From Daz's daft questions to Gary's despair. Oh, it's the Photography Pubcast crew. Drinks and debates and a giggle or two. From lenses to nonsense, we'll see it through. With Daz, Gary, Jamie and the rest of the zoo. Stu and Adam, the pros of the game. They'll shoot a masterpiece while staying deadpan. Sam and Dave with their brains so bright. They'll argue apertures till the end of the night. But here comes Daz with his ease of vibe. Peter's for lows, we laugh till we cry. Gary's grumbling, where's my Big Mac? He's less worried about Booker than his next snack is hat. Oh, it's the Photography Pubcast crew. Drinks and debates and a giggle or two. From lenses to nonsense, we'll see it through. With Daz, Gary, Jamie and the rest of the zoo. Oh. Jamie strolls in 12 fingers strong, singing cheeky girls at the top of his lungs. He's the country lad with the love for the land and more fingers for shooting than anyone planned. Sam and Dave chime in, smart as a whip, debating full frame or the perfect lens kit. Stu and Adam not keeping it pro, while Gary's in the corner with fries to go. Oh, it's the Photography Pubcast crew. Drinks and debates and a giggle or two. From lenses to nonsense, we'll see it through. With Daz, Gary, Jamie and the rest of the zoo. Grab your camera and join the fun. The Pubcast banter has just begun. From crazy questions to snaps to find, it's a laugh, a pint and a bloody good time. Oh, it's the Photography Pubcast crew. Drinks and debates and a giggle or two. We're here for the photos, the banter, the booze. With Daz, Gary, Jamie and the rest of the zoo.
And there you go. Sorry about that. What can I say? But Jamie loves it. But then Jamie loves the cheeky girls. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jamie.
and it did sound very much like the Cheeky Girls, I thought.
Did
So
sound
probably
like
why-
Cheeky
You know what you
probably
should
why-
do, Gary? Maybe you should have the lyrics up with the bouncing ball, you know?
Like
Yeah,
karaoke.
oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that'd be good.
I'll just do that. Yeah, I'll just, yeah, no problem. It's fine.
You don't want to sleep tonight, do you?
You never know. It might be a hit on Spotify.
It could be the Christmas #1.
It
Could
could
be.
be.
Well,
I think if you stick some bells on it, then it'll be an instant Christmas song.
yeah, I've set Sam and Jamie to putting some bells on it, and they're going to do a little montage of all of our little funny bits along with the music, aren't you, for Christmas?
Well, we were, but Dave just sent 2 words as a response to say that he wasn't interested in then getting involved in that. So maybe not.
No, that was the sing along.
Yeah, we're not singing it. No, we're not singing it. No way are we singing it.
I didn't mean
No,
singing it live. I mean just.
I do think my
pretending to
favourite.
sing
I
it.
do think my favourite bit of it though is the bit about you having more fingers than you need.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for bringing that up, Jamie.
No problem.
Yeah, and I think I'm out of there. I think I'm out.
There is
So,
actually one. Sorry, there is one more that I will mention. I thought was worthy of a mention. Martin
Yeah.
Goff Jones. Hello, Martin. Good friend of the show. He, as well as mentioning his watch of the week, which was Dune Prophecy on Sky
Prophecy, yeah.
for anybody
Yeah.
that was interested in that. I quite liked his ending comment, really, which was, anyway, please try not to make the next podcast such a shit show. My time is valuable. So we'll do our best this
sorry.
week, really, Martin.
Too
I'm
late.
sorry, Martin.
So what are we, 42 minutes in and we haven't talked about
Crashed and
anything?
burned already.
Yeah. Shall we talk about
we
something
failed.
then? With that, let's actually talk about something. So I think what we'll do, Daz, before I do this, do you need to go for a wee or get a drink or anything
I'm
along
not
those lines?
5 years old. I do need a quick wee.
Right, there you go.
I'll go and squeeze one out.
Go on then. You see, he jokes and then he does.
I hate it when Gary's right, actually, because that was quite a big wee. Thank you for making me go to the toilet.
I told you. I told you, didn't I?
You did.
Didn't I tell you? You said I was treating you like a 5-year-old, but, you know.
You know me too well.
Yeah, intuition, you see. Right, okay. Let's talk about, let's have a subject. So, right, okay, so moving on, let's actually talk about some photography. This was from, I put a message out on Facebook to ask people for questions, and Justin Crane asked a question, and he wants to know, and he's kind of aiming it really at you initially, Alister, but we'll all join in and have a conversation about it. What would you do if you weren't a photographer?
Now I'm not so sure. I mean, obviously I had a career before I was a photographer, and I wouldn't do that. So I
What's
don't
your
know.
career, if you don't mind me asking?
I was in international finance, so I used to live overseas and was involved in money, basically, for 20 odd years. So lived in the Far East and Hong Kong and places like that. And 13 years ago, gave it all up to become a photographer. Well, I've been a photographer since early 2000, but I quit finance and went into photography in 2012. I don't know. I don't know what I do now. This is all I can do, I think. You know, the sort of photography and education and personal development and all that type of stuff. I guess if I wasn't specifically involved in photography, I'd probably retrain as like a therapist or a counselor or some sort of someone who tries to help other people get through hard things in life. I think that's probably what I would do. Either that or drive a truck. One of those two things.
So,
drive a truck.
Very similar. Is that important to you? So in your photography, because I know you are your channel is called Expressive Photography, and I know that you're very much into that. Is that as important to you as the photography, like the almost like the growth, the personal growth through photography? Is that, you know, what I'm getting at? Is that a really important aspect?
For me personally, it's more important than for me personally, it's more important than photography. You know, I think photography is just one of many ways that we can express ourselves. I mean, you can see a bunch of guitars back here, and people write, and people do all sorts of different painting and other crafts and arts. And I think after my own history of kind of dodgy mental health and stuff, I realized the benefits that photography gave to me. Having worked with other people over the last 5 or 6 years with mentorships and stuff like that, I've seen the benefits that it's made to them. So I think photography it can serve many purposes in our lives. You know, we can go out and have a great time. It gets us into the countryside. It makes us want to be healthier and give an appreciation for the world that we have around us, and to protect that, of course. But at the same time, art is always going to be a catalyst for personal discovery, I think, as well. So yeah, but if I wasn't directly involved in photography, I would be doing some sort of personal development therapy or teaching or something like that through any other means. Probably.
Do you think and this is out to everyone? Do you think that we're drawn to creative pursuits because we do have that propensity to be a little bit like hard on ourselves mentally. Do you think? Do you guys feel like that? Because I certainly feel the same as Alister there, that photography is really, healing for me. But I do feel like being a creative person means you're almost like a little bit broken. Does that make sense?
I mean, I definitely relate to that. It's something I wouldn't want to generalize and say it's the same for all photographers, but it's certainly something that I think a lot of people who are into art, a lot of it is being able to find that way of either expressing yourself, or also it's sort of a meditation. And I find with photography, for me as well, is in many respects a form of meditation. You're in the landscape and you build up a sort of, by rather than just sort of going out and looking at the landscape. If you're a photographer, you start looking for more details in the landscape. You spend more time in it, and I think that I find that a sort of therapeutic process. And I think that a lot of photographers are probably very similar to that. Not all of them, but I think certainly a lot of them are. And I think a lot of people use creative outlets like art or music or whatever it is, as a way of understanding that side of themselves, if that makes sense.
Or shutting it out.
It does make sense.
Or shutting it out. It's another way of just putting up a set of blinkers so that you don't have to think about the things that are on your mind all the time. I mean, that's what, your average person shuts off that voice in their head in any number of different ways. Alcohol is the most common drug in the world, in the Western world, certainly. And everyone I've ever known has at some point drank to forget, or drank to be happy, or to make their problems seem a little bit less bad. And obviously, there's all sorts of other substances that you can take to make the world feel better. Photography is it's another drug. A lot of people look on photography as a drug. It's something that they need to do. Yeah. Quitting photography is like quitting smoking. It's like, oh my God, I need my fix of photography. So I think at the end of the day, photography can be anything to you. And if people just want to go out and have a great time and take pretty pictures, that's great. If people want to use photography to dig around inside their own head, that's great. And as long as we don't give ourselves a bad time about our photography, then we're winning. It's when photography becomes our problem that we're kind of missing the point of being out with a camera in the first place.
Gary,
when we're worried about our photography or whether people like our photographs, then, we're really missing the point.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Screwed.
Should the five of us just be quiet and we let Alister talk to Gary like this? It's like a therapy session.
Yeah.
Let's all turn our back on these two, and then.
Are you sitting comfortably?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because on that subject of, I think that part of my personality is to dislike the things that I do, and that's just who I am. And I just think if the photography is just another just another vehicle, if you like, for me to not like myself very much. And I do love like a lot of the photos that I take. But if I didn't question I also think as well, though, if you don't question your own photography, if you sit there thinking that everything you do is fantastic or you're perfectly happy with it, where's the growth? Where do you grow from there?
I've never met anybody who thinks that. I don't think I've ever met anybody who thinks that.
No, but that's what I'm saying though. I just think that because I actively hate my photography, I'm just going to grow quicker.
Right.
Oh dear. Anyway, back to the subject, because this. I'll pay you later for the session there, Alister. Much appreciated. But Adam, what about you? If you couldn't be a photographer, then what would you? And I know you guys. So you guys are professionals, so that's what you do for a living. But what I'm sort of saying is, if you no longer had photography as a creative pursuit, where would you go? What would you do?
Porn star.
Okay, yeah.
Got the looks.
Yeah.
I've changed his. Yeah.
Yeah, you've looked.
I've checked.
While Alice was talking, I was trying to think of what I mean, if photography finished for me tomorrow, what would I do? And that would be a really hard one because I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then before that, I mean, I've never had a real job. I think one of the reasons why I got into photography was because it was probably the easiest thing for me to do without actually working for a living. But then I had to figure out how to make money out of it as well. I think I'd probably take up a trade, something to use where I'm using my hands, like my father. He was a builder. I think I probably would have done that instead.
Okay.
Sitting behind a desk, just thinking about things, and it's not my gig. I'd have to be outside doing something physical, I guess. Mind you, having said that, I spend most of my time sitting behind a desk, so go figure.
Thinking about things, not really doing anything.
Well, no, I mean, photography. I don't think a lot of people realize that professional photography involves 90% sitting behind a desk, just doing admin stuff. The photography part is a very small part of it, unfortunately.
Mm. So you'd like to be a builder? You wouldn't lower yourself.
Something like that, like an electrician or a plumber, or
you wouldn't go down as far as carpentry, would you?
No. No.
You're not going to tell you what, I'm making right. If I had my time over again, I think I'd be an electrician or a plumber. That's for sure.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, the last electrician we had come in here, I mean, he just did his job. He didn't even clean up after himself. He just left I'm done. He was gone.
I'm glad you said that, because that seems to be electricians, and my son's an electrician all over the world. So yeah, they're just messy buggers.
I said, "Oh my God!" Like Carl, he just left all this shit on the floor, and it's like, man, don't you like sweep up or? Oh no.
Don't get paid for it, I guess. Don't get paid for it, Adam.
Precisely.
They're not earning the big bucks for sweeping the floor, are they? That's for the carpenters to do.
Precisely.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Daz. Okay, so what about Daz? What about you? What would you do if photography was no longer an option for you? Where would you go?
Because obviously, Alister and Adam are speaking professionally, but for the likes of us, it's just a hobby. But not a lot would really change for me, in all honesty, because for me, I mentioned, obviously, I was in the lakes last week hiking, and I would just do that. I think
you'd die quicker.
It's being out. I would just die a lot quicker. Yeah. No, I think the reason I love photography is because it gets me outside. Well, it doesn't get me outside. I'll be outside anyway, but I just enjoy being outside. And I listen to everything that Alister said, and it's and I've mentioned this before. I've done like a Facebook post once, and I mentioned Nick Livesey, and I know Nick listens to this sometimes.
Hello, Nick.
And hello, Nick. And Nick done this wonderful thing called mountain healing. And he just summed it up beautifully, and it does. As soon as I'm outside, even if it's local, even if it's around here, sometimes I'll get up like stupid o'clock, as I do, and I'll just go for a couple of hour walk, and I'll come back. If I can get to the lakes, even better still, or when I was traveling to Snowdonia. But as soon as I'm outside, the noise just stops. It's just so peaceful. All I can focus on is my surroundings, and having the camera is amazing. But if I had to give up photography, then nothing else would change for me. I'd still be out walking. I'd still be out hiking.
Okay. So the camera is just an extension of what you do anyway.
Absolutely.
Really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just another string.
Yeah.
Along. Yeah.
And I think because we was talking, I think a few episodes ago, about if it's not very inspiring, like, what would you do? How would you inspire yourself? How would you do that? And I think me and Jamie both said, put the camera away. Amount of times I've put my camera in my rucksack for a hike, and it stayed there the whole time. I'm not even bothered to get the camera out. Mm-hmm. So
okay. Dave, what about you? If you could no longer have photography as an outlet?
Well, I can see it from the professional perspective as well, slightly, because over the last 3 or 4 years, I sort of tickled the fringes of being a semi-professional, and I sort of turned over, just nudging into 5 figures the last 3 years, and I hated it because I just felt that, you know, I've got enough of business going on as it is in my professional life. And so I can totally relate to what Adam's saying. There's just so much bollocks that goes with it that isn't photography, that I having now completely cut it off, just knocked it on the head. I did my last group workshop at the beginning of November, and sort of the final day, I was driving home thinking, "Oh my God, I should buy myself a gold watch. This is a good feeling." So I'm back to being a hobbyist, and in the event that I couldn't do photography, I'd go back to what I used to do before I started doing as much photography, which is go back to fishing. I'd always wanted my own trout lake, and I've sort of got one. And the last 2 years, I haven't wet a fly in it once. So that's 2 whole seasons. That's the first time in 45, 50 years that I haven't done any fishing. So I would just tie a few flies and head off. And very similar to what Daz was saying, the sort of fishing that I like is wild, high mountain lakes with titchy little wild trout that, you know, they don't make a meal, but they put up a fight. They're challenging to hook. I'm not interested in dragging a lure through a pond full of stockies that are suicidal at best. It's interesting when I get people buy a ticket for the lake here and they write in and they say, "Oh, I didn't catch anything. It was really hard going." And I sort of think, yeah, you're in the wrong water, mate, because it's just wild fish in there and they've seen you off. So that's what I would do. I'd go back. I'd probably buy myself a nice 15-foot salmon rod and practice my spey casting and take a trip to Alaska or Iceland, Norway, perhaps. But again, out in nature and
outside, yeah,
doing it. And I mean, I know you were a carp fisherman, weren't you, Daz?
Yeah.
That if you couldn't do photography, would have an appeal to go back to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's just being outside, you know. I just anything that it's like what Adam was saying, you know. Kind of, I mean, that's what I do, you know. I mean, I was on a course. That's why this chair is still here. I was on a course for 5 days.
It has been noticed. The chair's still there. By the way.
Yeah, I know it will be moved next week. I promise you. But yeah, I had to go for a walk every morning before I sat in this chair. I just couldn't think of anything worse than just waking up and sitting at another chair, you know, kind of working all day and then leaving that chair and going sitting on the sofa or something. So, you know, I'm like, I thought Adam was saying that he would do something kind of physical. I just like being outside.
Okay.
I think that's the case with most people when they take up nature photography, though. Like someone asked me about AI and all that stuff, and it's the same kind of thing. I don't think AI will affect nature photography because the whole point of nature photography is just to go out in nature. The photography part of it is just secondary, you know. Really is at the end of the day.
The thing I say about AI, and I did a video about this. People worrying that AI is going to take over, you know, no one's going to go out and take photos anymore because of AI. Let's look at say, for instance, I don't know, the Old Manor Store, right? Okay. How many images are there on the internet of the Old Manor Store? Right, thousands of images, yeah? But people don't download them to look at them, do they? Go, oh, I've got it anyway, look, because I've got it here. They go to the Old Manor Store because they want the experience of going to the Old Manor Store and getting the photo for themselves. So if you AI an image of the Old Manor Store, it's only the same as you've got, technically speaking, you've got thousands and thousands of pre-made images of the Old Manor Store anyway that you haven't created. So I think it's a bit of a non-starter, the whole AI thing, really. I think that won't kill photography. It might kill stock photography, but it won't kill people going out and taking photos because
it'll kill people getting paid for their photography. It will partially kill people getting paid for it. You know, but as you say, stock photography is nearly dead anyway. So
yeah, I think it will to a point, Alister. But I also think, and I think we talked about this before with Stuart, if you've got like a video of you going out and taking a particular image, so there's kind of that provenance there of you getting that image. That might be, people might buy that because they know that you've had that experience and it's your image rather than just an AI image. So it might be that it doesn't die in that respect. You know,
I think where I've done commercial photography, I haven't done a lot, but some. There isn't a single image that I've provided for a client that could have been produced by AI, because I'm photographing their premises or their products or whatever it may be. So you can't emulate that. I suppose McDonald's could whistle up a nice looking burger because the photography they use doesn't represent the real thing anyway. But for the most part, I think jobbing commercial photographers, wedding photography, portraiture, sports, none of that's going to be affected by AI to any great degree.
I think we've kind of changed subject here, but I think one of the worrying things about AI, I saw a video the other day. It was of a fisherman, and he saves a polar bear, and it was pretty obvious that it was AI generated. There was just no way that you'd be able to get that close to a polar bear, injured or not. But there were actually people in the comments that believed that was a real video. And they're so detached from the natural world that I find that very disturbing, like really disturbing, the fact that they can't tell the difference, and the fact that a polar bear just wouldn't tolerate anything getting close to it like that.
But if you think about, where AI has a function, think about animation, stop motion animation, Pixar style animation. Now that you can have AI, you storyboard it and you get AI to generate your visuals, that's going to be useful. And a whole lot of people who are in that industry might be a bit twitchy about it, because they're going to be thinking, I code up CGI and I'm now no longer going to be required. But I don't think that it's going to have that sweeping impact that the switch from horsepower to combustion engines had. I think people make more of it than is warranted.
Dave, theme tunes as well. Don't forget theme tunes.
Well, precisely. That was absolute junk, and it sounds like it.
I spent minutes on that. Literally minutes. How very dare you?
I think.
Anyway, look. But what was that?
What was that? Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
No, I think funny enough, I posted something in our group. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and we never spoke about it, but we're almost speaking about it now. What I posted, and there's sometimes I will look at an image, whereas 5 years ago I would have thought, oh wow, that's a great photo, that. And now when I see an exceptionally good photo, my first thought is that real? And it's such a shame, and I think AI is almost kind of killing photography in one aspect, where you start to question the validity of that actual photo.
I think that's why YouTube's so great, though, because now people can take it, go out, take the image on YouTube, and then it's real.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, Alistair, go on, Adam.
I was just saying, it was just kind of the same thing, though, when Photoshop first came out. I remember when Photoshop first came out and people were saying, oh, yeah, this is the end of photography as we know it. And people used to come up to me at shows and say, oh, I love the photograph. Has it been Photoshopped? And I'd say, well, of course it has. It's a digital file. Photoshop is kind of at that time was the only program that you could manipulate colors and stuff. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, but this is taking it to the extreme, isn't it?
Yeah,
enhancing colors or cloning out a bird is one thing, when you can start to make a unicorn kind of flying over the Isle of Wight, that's slightly different.
Yeah, because we all know unicorns don't fly,
They don't know.
That's Pegasus.
Oh, is that Pegasus? Not in my
smarter
AI
than he
world.
looks.
Actually, it was
I don't look that smart, though, do I? So, it's not a high bar.
That's the extent of his Greek mythology there, right there.
It was quite funny. The other day, I was removing an object out of a photograph, and I just wanted to erase it, and it ended up putting a pigeon in there, a picture of a pigeon. It was the weirdest thing. You know? It's like, and I kept doing it, and they kept putting these different creatures in there, and I just wanted it to. It was weird.
Yeah, generative AI is odd. I think the worrying thing, though, more worrying than the imagery, is when now you're starting to get AI interfering in things like elections or big things, because you could have let's say Keir Starmer talking, and is it him? Because back there, 10 years ago, you trusted what you saw on video. You might not trust what you see on an image, on a still image, but on video, you trusted it. And on audio, you trusted it. And now you can't trust it. I think the only way you can really trust something is if you're there now.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip mentioning Keir Starmer? Have you seen that? There is a clip going round of Keir Starmer standing at the lectern outside number 10.
Oh, when the boat comes past.
And then he runs over to the people in the boat and gives them a massive hug as they're coming on the shore. Right. And it just transitions from him at the lectern to sort of all of a sudden just ramping over, giving everybody a big hug. But, for the layman, you can't see the seams in that. But it's clever stuff. It's clever stuff.
Yeah, number 10's in London, right?
Yeah. But what I'm saying
is running to a shore.
It's a clever piece of editing that the AI has generated. So,
But I suppose if you think about it, they would do stuff like make David Miliband eat a bacon sandwich properly. Stuff like that.
But the thing also.
Good point. I take it all back.
They
could make David Miliband eat a bacon sandwich even if he didn't.
Yeah. I think going back to the summer, and it was it's kind of AI is it is evolving quickly, but it's still quite rudimentary. But even did you see the Gareth Southgate things where they had the Gareth Southgate press conferences where he's talking about it and he's being very uncomplimentary to some of his players and himself, and it was quite believable. It's quite the lip syncing was quite believable, and that you could tell it wasn't him, obviously. But if you've got someone who's more subtle with that, who's more nuanced with that, let's say for instance that I'm trying to think of an example, but let's say, for instance, that a lot of people in America have no idea about Keir Starmer, for instance, and Elon Musk doesn't like Keir Starmer, and he wants to badmouth him or you use AI, subtly. You could be feeding all sorts of stuff into people's psyche, and they're going to be watching that, even if it's very small things. It doesn't have to be him running off and hugging some people off a boat. It could be him saying something that's, not particularly or is particularly controversial to one demographic of people in America, and they're going to have a whole different impression of him than what is the actual reality, or anybody, not just Keir Starmer, but anybody.
I think people often ask me.
I'm probably. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, people often ask why we live on the Isle of Lewis. This is why we live on the Isle of Lewis, because we don't think about any of this stuff. We're too busy out in the countryside enjoying ourselves. I
can totally understand that. That's why I live on Anglesey. It's not as remote. We've got supermarkets, but you
won't be living on Anglesey come Monday. You would flown away overnight.
It's already getting
Cambridge come Monday.
It's already getting up as we speak. I just wanted to say about AI though. AI is a proper misnomer because there's nothing intelligent about it. It's large language models. I use what's known as AI, 4 different versions on a daily basis, a dozen times a day to run my businesses. And it's absolutely brilliant. It saves me. I probably would have to recruit at least one more staff member to do the work that AI does for me in the blink of an eye. It writes computer code. It writes proposals for projects. It's really, really useful. I pay for it because I need the best that's available. But in that context, I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's wonderful. It's not intelligent though. You feed it and it interprets what you've fed. But some of the output that I can get from it, like coding up a web page, by telling it what I need the web page to do, it's just fabulous. And I already within 18 months of starting to use it, I'd be absolutely lost without it. But I can't really, the sort of applications that we're talking about here are just frivolous fringe applications. And if you've got bad political actors that want to try and
Excuse me for a
influence
sec.
things.
Just got to give this guy some parcels. Hang on.
Of course, yeah, no problem.
You know, that to me is just an irrelevance.
Yeah. No, Dave. Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? No, you know, and we're probably all sitting here like thinking about, I am, about doomsday scenarios that are probably never going to arrive. But yeah, you know, we weren't even talking about AI though. What's going on?
No, we still don't know what Jamie and Sam would do if they were doing photography.
Yeah, Jamie, what would you do if you could control AI? I mean, if you weren't doing photography.
Okay, so I haven't really got a very exciting answer, so you probably carry on talking about AI. It might be slightly more interesting than my answer. But,
Sam, what about you, Sam? What would you do if you...
Well, yeah.
Go on, Jamie.
To be fair, it was very similar to what Dave was talking about when he said about his fishing, because if you go into my garage, the two ex-hobbies of mine that still exist in the garage is a bag of fishing rods. I haven't got the reels or anything, but I've still got a bag of fishing rods from when I used to do course fishing a lot, and my golf bag with a full set of golf clubs in it. And both of those still exist, and I would probably take up one or both of those if I couldn't do photography, for the same reasons that we've talked about, that they both get you out, they both get you into the great outdoors, they both get you doing exercise. They're both hobbies that you can do in a later life, as we think about retirement. They're both things we can do. So I would probably do either one or probably both of those. The golf one, I got to a point where I quite enjoyed it, and then it got very, very frustrating. So I tended to just sort of give up with that one because I just lost complete confidence in myself. But I would think that would probably be the one that I would veer to, because it was the one that I enjoyed most. Fishing was very, very difficult, and you've got to have a lot of patience, as ex-fishermen know. But yeah, it'd be one of those two, I think. But probably the golf.
Isn't fishing very expensive in the UK? Someone told me it's expensive. Is it?
Salmon fishing is extremely eye-wateringly expensive, but coarse fishing isn't at all. It's the angling for the masses. Trout fishing's a bit more expensive, but not that bad. It's certainly cheaper than photography.
All right,
that's true.
Maybe we should have a pubcast fishing and golf trip. Just put it out there.
I won't be there.
Well, the thing is, I've done so little fishing, I didn't even rebuild my jetty. And both of the yachts I had moored in my marina are now shipwrecks. They're both at the bottom of the lake, so I'm starting from scratch.
Sam, what about you?
Yeah, go on, Sam.
Well, I'm just gonna be repeating the same thing. I mean, as everyone knows, my expensive hobby before photography was music. But having spent my working life, or certainly the last sort of 15 years or so of my time either working in a lab or working at the desk, and I'm now at a desk, I do crave getting outside, and photography is what gets me outside at the weekends. I need that, because otherwise I spend the whole time in the office. And if I was doing music, I'd again spend the whole weekend in the office too, recording stuff, so I wouldn't be up for that. I'd be out hiking, which is what I do anyway. It's just I happen to have a camera with me, and probably get back to fishing again, because I used to do a lot of both coarse fishing and trout fishing. So we don't have much coarse fishing up here, so it'd be trout fishing.
Wow, you fishermen! You.
There's loads of fishermen on the panel.
There's loads of fishermen on the panel.
No, isn't it Fisher them? Isn't it Fisher them?
Oh yeah, Fisher them.
They.
Sorry, yes.
Fisher they are.
I've got two words for you. Roach pole. That's it.
Although actually, just to bring you up, Dave, on the trout fishing being more expensive than coarse fishing, having been an ex-carp fisherman, I would dispute that. Because carp fishing, you get loads of gear. Yeah.
Are goldfish carp?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, you're fishing for goldfish.
Yeah, I don't think they let you go
Yeah.
and fish for them in the B&Q aquarium department.
It's legal, but it's frowned upon.
Do you use little fishing rods as well?
That would be fun, wouldn't it? Dave, you'd fit right in there with a little fishing rod, wouldn't you?
Oh, well, like some kind of garden gnome job, is it?
You said it, Dave. You said it. I didn't. You said it.
That's why I do fly fishing, so I have to keep moving so I don't get mistaken for one.
Oh, dear.
You just look like a gnome with a whip.
That's a whole other topic, Alistair. That's a whole other topic. Anyway, let's talk. I'll tell you what, Jamie, you want to talk about Bluesky, didn't you? Before we go,
Bluesky, do I? Okay, if you want me to.
I thought you did.
Yeah, no, I'll mention it. I'll mention it. Yeah. So
Well, it wasn't up, mate.
It wasn't necessarily Bluesky that I wanted to talk about, but that was the catalyst for the point. So, yeah, Bluesky, as some of us might know, is this latest social media alternative to Twitter, really, that's come on board. And it's really interesting because obviously Twitter, through, well, I guess from a political perspective after the election and a lot of the rumours that it was used and Elon Musk being involved has sort of helped Trump get where he is. You know, a lot of people are trying to jump ship from Twitter on the basis of that, and they're jumping, by the looks of it, to Bluesky. So I looked at it, and I've got probably all of the social media apps on my phone, I should think, most of them anyway. Whether I use them all or not is another question, but I've got a lot of them on there. So I set up an account on Bluesky and sort of did the normal, hello, I'm here, here's a picture type thing. And I must admit, some of the pictures that you see or the people that you engage with, it seems very cleansed. There isn't that noise that you see on Twitter. There isn't that political views. There isn't the fake AI videos going on. Whether it will come or not, I don't know. But anyway, I just thought it was more of a pleasant experience than Twitter. But that wasn't actually the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make was that's yet another social media platform where you can potentially share your work. And I guess it started to get me thinking, well, how many of these do you want to use? Or do you want to use any of them? Do you use all of them? Do you be selective in the ones that you use to share? You know, because, you know, spamming every single social media platform with the same image isn't a great look, to be fair. You know, you put the same message up, the same picture, just to try and reach as many people as you can with your pictures. So, you know, it was a question that when we've got so many of these coming on, and they may be good, they may be bad, but it's another conduit for you to get your work out there to be seen by the wider world. Which ones do you choose, and why do you choose those particular ones? Is it because you get engagement on pictures and you can actually get some interaction going on with your audience, or is it just because you want as many likes as you can get? And therefore, you know, where do we go? How does it ever stop? You know, do we have an infinite amount of social media platforms that we have to keep sharing our images out there to be seen? So that was the point of the question, really.
Do you want my advice, Jamie? Genuinely, just get rid of them all, mate.
You've done that, haven't you?
Yeah. Except for Facebook, which is now on my, you know, on the new iPhone, you can have one that's hidden. So you have to Face ID it, which makes it a pain in the arse to actually go to it. So that's the only one now that I've got on my phone.
When did you delete it, Gal?
A couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Twitter's
I'm
gone.
not trying to, you know, but you done that before. So then you must have resurrected it and brought it back to your phone.
I did with Twitter, yeah. But
so
Twitter's...
all I'm getting at is not being funny, but sometimes it's like when people say I'm going to go on a diet, unless you've lost 50 pounds, right? You know, the diet starts on Monday kind of thing. No, I'm not. So, but you know, I think a lot of people, I mean, I'm quite lucky because I don't really go on social media at all, really. You've only got to look at my posts. They're really, when I started posting a few weeks ago when I was in, or I don't know, 6 weeks ago when I was in the lakes, so many people saying, oh, it's really good to see you back. I've never gone away. I still was out with a camera. I just don't post on social media. But I think for some people, it is like going on a diet. It's like, right, I'm definitely not going to go on social media. I'm going to do this. And within a month, they're kind of back again. I think it depends on your personality.
Yeah,
really.
I'm not I haven't left social media, so I've still got on my. So when I come onto my Mac here, I've still got Instagram and I've still got Facebook. Right. I don't really. I can't remember the last time I posted anything to Instagram. I can't remember the last time I posted anything to X. But that's the main one for me. X is so toxic now. It's a real toxic platform that I think it was making me a less happy person, genuinely looking at it. I think there was so much. It's like you get a big thread on X. So something major on X, and you look in the comments, and there's either someone like promoting porn, or there's someone showing someone else being killed. Generally, often, and I just had enough of that. I had enough of it, and it's like, and you only have to view it. You only have to look at it once. So you go. You don't. Let's say you don't even know that it's going to be someone being killed. You go onto it. You see that. You go, oh my god! And then all of a sudden, your timeline's flooded with that, and it seems to be that is X now. So, and I don't need it in my life, and I genuinely don't. And it's not like a fad. It's not like I'll die. I just don't want to see that ever again, because I'll be honest with you, I was flicking through it and sort of seeing these and not consciously getting rid of them, and it just makes you a really unhappy person, I think. And so I've got no issue with Facebook really, but I don't want. I think the issue I said on my video was on Facebook and Instagram and things like that, you're bombarded with images. We're flooded with images, especially if you're in a lot of photography groups. And Instagram, essentially, I mean, it's more a video site now, but you're also flooded with images there. And you get to a point in that respect with those where you're almost going, where's the unicorn? Because these are, I mean, there's some fantastic images coming at you, because there's so many fantastic images coming at you. They all become run of the mill, and you don't appreciate them for what they are. You just don't, because you've got so many. It's impossible for you to take it all in. So to come away from it, just go. And also the other thing and I said it on my video, you get influenced. So naturally you get influenced by everything you see influences you. Everything you hear influences you. So if you're seeing, let's say, for instance, you're going out doing a lot of woodland photography, look at woodland images now on Facebook or on Instagram. The 99% of them are pretty much the same, processed in the same style. It's the same image. And so you're subconsciously, and when you're going out, almost looking for that without realizing. You're looking for that image without realizing, and then you're processing it like that without realizing, because that's what you're exposed to so much. So I'm trying to like almost detox. And there was a comment on and I couldn't do it, but there's a comment on my video saying, have you considered photographic celibacy? Which basically is just taking all photos, everyone else's photos, out of your vision. So you don't see anyone's photos. And maybe that way you would get your own style and you would grow yourself. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, but you are then taking away the enjoyment, aren't you? I mean, a great part of looking at other people's photos is enjoying their work.
Yeah, but what if you're not enjoying it, Daz? What if you're so overexposed to
totally
it? It becomes almost just like bland.
In my opinion, you cannot enjoy a photograph on this.
True.
In terms of, Adam and I have both published books in the last year. That's the way to enjoy someone's photography.
Buy my book.
You bastard.
Buy my book. No, I mean it's that's the way we appreciate photography. Anne and I probably have about 300 photo books in the house, and we look at people's photographs in their books because that's the way to enjoy it. That's the way you're seeing the image, the way it was intended to be seen. That's the only way you're going to look at the image that person made, because you can't control anybody's monitor. You can't control how it's seen on a device. So at the end of the day, social media is there to make the companies money by selling your content or using your content to basically encourage aggressive discourse. That's what makes social media work. So for me
Yeah.
personally, I left Twitter before it became X, and I only use Instagram and Facebook now, and that's only because occasionally I have things to say. But in terms of new things that come on the market, like Vero, I hadn't heard of Bluesky until you mentioned it today. So for me, every time something new like that comes along, it's like starting from scratch. If you've got tens of thousands of subscribers on Instagram, I'm not going to go and start again. You know, when Vero came out, you know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like you got to build your audience again. And it's just, we did this 15 years ago. You know, I don't need to do that again. And it's just a pain. It's like having a successful YouTube channel and just saying, okay, I'm not going to use that YouTube channel. I'm going to start a new one because I'm going to I want to make better videos. It's crazy. So at the end of the day, anything like that in our modern lives, you use it for what it's good at delivering. You're aware of the negatives, and the best way of avoiding the negatives is just not to be there and only go on it to get out of it what you want to get out of it. But I look at very little photography on social media. You know, I'd rather go to someone's website and look at the images. So I'm just going to put my beautiful book back on its stand.
Oh, book again. Yeah.
On sale now.
That's not on sale.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this here and now then. So because obviously Adam, what Alice just said makes obviously perfect sense. We all know that anyway, looking at images from a book is far better than on the screen. And because Adam very kindly didn't charge me that for that second photo, by the time we click off tonight, I would have ordered Adam's book. There we go, as a thank you, as a goodwill gesture for that photo. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is it on sale Black Friday? Is there 60% off? Because I think they have a great idea.
No,
sale.
I'm actually giving some stuff away with it. If you order it now, you can get a print or a hat or whatever. But not many people have taken advantage of it.
He's had the print already.
Oh, you forgot about that.
I think social media, I mean, I personally, with the social media, I've said this a number of times, I don't get the point of it, to be honest. I really don't get the point of it. Because you just, okay, so you get likes and that, but so what? Who cares? I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, if you have it as a business or for a business, which is, I mean, I just have it there so people see that I'm still alive.
Yeah, you got presence.
Instagram,
every 25
I post on
minutes.
Instagram.
Every 25 minutes,
Well, lately, yeah,
when you're posting.
Because I've been on a trip, so I'll post lots of images. But in the next couple of weeks, I'm not going anywhere, so I probably won't post anything for a while. But Instagram it's okay. It's not a great way to look at pictures, though. And I went on Vero, and Vero is a good platform, but like Alister said, you're building up a whole, and it's all the same people. It's all my friends that are on Instagram. Same with Bluesky.
So from a marketing potential, Adam, you feel as though you probably should at least join these other systems or whatever, at least so you've got a present there so they can see you, or because you're on Bluesky. I saw you on Bluesky, so you've joined.
Yeah,
Bluesky.
actually, well, for some people it's worth it. Like I know Paul, he doesn't have a huge presence on Instagram, so he joined Bluesky quite early, and he gets more engagement on there than Instagram. So for him, it's been better.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure if it garners any business, or I don't know. I think for me, YouTube is my best social media platform for sure.
Well, just going to Instagram, I posted a photo on Instagram about 6 weeks ago when I was in the lakes. The photo before that was of a little owl, which was taken about 4 months ago. And the photo before that, the third photo and going back, was when we was all at Glencoe.
Wow.
So that kind of goes to show how little I use Instagram. When we was at Glencoe, was that almost 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So I posted twice in 2 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nobody's really told me why views or likes are so important. I don't understand it myself.
I think the thing with likes, and I said this, in my video, likes aren't important and they shouldn't be important, right? But it's easy to so say for instance, I was using Flickr, so I post a lot of my stuff on Flickr, right? Because I use it as almost like a portfolio, and then something like almost like a online storage, really, for my best images. Because I don't at the moment, my website is so on Flickr you get, let's say on Flickr you get on average 100 likes. It doesn't matter, right? Whether it's 110, a million, none of that matters. The likes don't matter, right? Until you post an image and it gets 50% of the likes that everyone else gets. And it's easy, and other people might not care, and you might say, well, why do you care? But it's easy to then go, well, I'm not bothered about the likes, but why is this one getting half? Do you know, you use the likes as almost like a yardstick of the perception of the image.
But I think as well, if we are talking about likes, if it's purely about likes, I think it just goes to it's how many people share that photo.
Of course.
That's all
and
it is.
Yeah, of course it is, and it's a terrible metric because you could have one image that's had 50,000 views and has got 100 likes, and another image that's got 1,000 views and 100 likes. But it's easy to fall into a trap of using that like system as a metric, which is what they want you to do at the end of the day. They want you to chase likes. You get a dopamine hit, right? Whether you like it or not, you get a dopamine hit from getting the likes.
I still don't understand I don't know what's the outcome of all that though. I mean, talking of Flickr, I mean, I have an image on there that has, I think it's up to 40 million views.
Yeah.
But so what? So, okay, 40 million people have looked at it, but it hasn't garnered any kind of business for me, or nobody's come to my website and bought a print of that.
Yeah, but you're a businessman. You're a professional photographer.
Yeah, but even as an amateur, like why does it matter? Like, I don't get it. That's what I'm trying to find out. Like
Adam, it shouldn't. That's the point. It shouldn't matter. But I'm just being honest, and being open and saying that it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter how many views something gets. It shouldn't matter how many likes something gets. But it kind of does sometimes, and that's the flaw. Maybe a flaw in my personality. That may be a flaw in. Sorry, go on, Jamie. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say. I think. And just basically say, I think where you're coming from is you are using it as a barometer based on your confidence, and that's why likes are important to you, because it is that barometer. Is this image any good out there, audience? You tell me whether it's any good or not, and that's the likes piece that gives you that satisfaction that your image that you think is okay, everybody else thinks it's okay.
I wouldn't say that likes are a barometer. I'm not looking for likes. I'm not asking people to like it. I don't care necessarily if they like it or not. But when you, over a period of time, get a certain number of likes per image, you can't help but use it as a barometer to judge. So I'm not looking for the most likes ever. Right. And I'm not equally, I don't necessarily judge my images.
But it's all nonsense.
It is not. I know it's nonsense, but
you're getting bogged down in nonsense, and I think that's
the same with the YouTube videos, right? I mean, it's the same thing. Why?
I honestly think I honestly think though. I know we all say that it's rubbish, and I've had loads of comments on my video saying that just don't care about it, just don't matter about it. But deep down, Adam, right? Deep down, I genuinely believe deep down that if you released a video and it got half the views of every other video you've done, you would question it and go, why has this one got half the views of all the others? What's wrong with it? Why isn't it as good as the others?
That happens every week. It happens every week.
Yeah, and it's natural, isn't it?
But there's no sense to it, and there's no. At the end of the day, if I make a video and it doesn't do well on YouTube, I know that it's not because of the quality of the content. Because I put the same amount of effort into it every week that it's nothing to do with the quality of the content. It's just for whatever reason, that week, that thumbnail, that title just didn't get shared by the YouTube algorithm. And trying to second guess that, you are going to go insane, and
Yeah.
I think at the end of the
Hello,
day, social
definitely.
media magnifies our flaws. And if you're egocentric and you're egotistical and you're overly competitive and you're too or you're plagued by self-doubt and all of these types of things, social media will absolutely magnify those flaws. And this is where we all have to be responsible to look at it with a smart pair of eyes and say, where is this being good for me and where is this being negative for me? And if it's overly negative, then it's just a case of, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. And whether you're a business person or whether you're a semi-professional or even an amateur, what baffles me is amateurs who put themselves through this minefield from choice.
Hello.
I can understand a professional doing it because of name awareness and brand recognition and all of that type of stuff. But for an amateur to put themselves through that stress for no money and no reward, I think is, well, if I'm describing you, Gary, then, I'm either incredibly perceptive or just very honest.
I will say, and I need to let Sam and Dave speak in a minute because I haven't really said anything, but I will say that I'm not that bothered by it that I'm gonna, that it's gonna like mortally like offend me or I'm gonna get, but yeah, I mean, and you say, why do you do it if it's not for the money? Well, I do it for the personal satisfaction of putting out something that I'm proud of. And at the end of the day, do you know what? If it doesn't get as many views as another one, I'm not really that bothered, but I'm just kind of trying to put it across that it does. I'm almost playing devil's advocate where it does matter to a point. And I think that there's a lot of people out there who are probably who may be watching this, who 100%. Go, well, even if they won't want to admit it, it does matter to them a little bit. Yeah, and it does matter to me a little bit. It shouldn't. I know it shouldn't, but
look, I'll tell you what you could do. You could do an experiment. As I say, when I posted on X six weeks ago, and people said, "Oh, it was good to see you back," I'm taking almost as many photos now than I ever have, but I'm just not sharing them. I'm doing them for me. No, hang on. Why don't you, for 6 months, not share a photo?
I don't share photos.
Just go out and take them purely for you. Don't put them on Flickr. Don't put them on X. Don't make a YouTube video. Just go out and enjoy the photography for you. Could you do that? No. Because if you can't do that, then you are the problem.
I know I'm the problem.
Because then you're constantly seeking validation.
I'm not seeking validation.
You are, because then you're moaning about
Why don't you like me?
Stop sharing. Just enjoy your photography for you.
Whoa.
No.
I didn't know we were having an intervention this evening.
I know. Alister, this is every week, mate.
It's like this every week.
One thing or another, this is happening to me every week. So, no, I
can see why, to be fair.
Yeah. No, I can see what you're saying, Daz, right? I can, but sharing on YouTube is not, I don't care about YouTube at all. I don't care about viewing figures. I don't care about likes. I don't care about anything on YouTube. I just like the process of making videos. And to be fair, when I don't like the process of making videos, I don't make videos. And Flickr, to be fair again, I only post on Flickr. I don't post on Flickr for likes. I post on Flickr because it's somewhere to put my photo. So if I lose my hard drive, I've got my better photos. So honestly, with Flickr and that, it's Instagram, X, Facebook. I don't post on there anymore. I genuinely don't. So I'm kind of doing what you were saying anyway. Dave, what do you think about it?
I've got no opinion on it. I've just been doom scrolling.
Oh, please, Dave,
while
can you have an
opinion?
Talking. Dave, have an opinion, please.
Well, I was just like looking through some images while you were talking, but.
Are they my images? Do you like them?
I never see your stuff because you don't post. You allegedly.
Exactly.
I've never really had any problems with social media. I totally get Adam's perspective of why, because that's a perfectly reasonable question if you don't have a commercial imperative. I enjoy sharing my stuff. I get the sort of response that I look at and go, oh, that's nice. People seem to quite like it. I don't often share something that bombs, but I'm very particular about what I share. So it's going to sound terrible, but let's call a spade here. I know that when I post something, it's reasonable. It's within a window of acceptability. I know it's not total junk. I also know it's not going to win the NLPA awards next year. But I have an audience, if you like. I have a group of people that participate in my discussion group, and I do post on Twitter. I don't have a problem with the garbage on Twitter. I just don't look at it. I mean, that's how the world works. The world is full of garbage. You choose if you look at it or not. I only ever look at the people that I'm following. So I never see anything that isn't people I'm following. Obviously, I get adverts, but I don't get, murders and pornography within the adverts. So I don't have a problem.
Don't know what you're missing, mate.
Instagram, I don't really look at. I just post and respond to my responses. I don't look at the sort of general feed. But I just find it all a bit. I don't understand this navel gazing that goes with social media. It's just a thing, and you use it or don't use it. There's more important things in life.
I just want to be loved, Dave.
Yeah, I get that. That's come across
Obviously
loud and clear. I mean, I think it's been very useful to have.
We love you.
I think it's been useful to have somebody of the caliber of Alister on here. So we've had this kind of psychiatrist chair effect.
Yeah, Gary's a knob, basically. Yeah,
No.
Yeah,
I'm hoping you'll go away from it somewhat.
Thank you.
No, I'm hoping you'll go away from it perhaps with a slightly more balanced approach. Darren's approach, Adam's approach, hopefully mine.
Yeah, thanks for shaking your head, Alister, because you're right. It's not going to happen, mate. Is it?
It was quite funny. I won't name names, but there was a photographer that went on my Instagram, and he obviously didn't like a photograph that I had posted, and he couldn't understand why it had so many likes, and he was going on, and how nobody was looking at his Instagram posts and so on. So I went to his Instagram page, and all the photographs were of him. And I said, well, no wonder nobody's looking at them, because they're all of you. And I told him this. I said, try posting something that isn't of you, and maybe people will look at it. Seriously. Well, they were just stupid pictures of his face. And I thought, well, yeah, okay, put one up, but don't put, I don't know. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Sam, do you want the final word on this?
Final word. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm going to do my Jerry Springer thing and wrap it up now, because actually, I feel like this ties in quite nicely with what we were talking about with AI earlier, and AI destroying photography and all of that kind of stuff. Because AI is not going to destroy photography, and the reasons we gave for AI not destroying photography is because as photographers, we do photography to go outside and enjoy the outdoors and take photographs. So we're not always doing it to post on social media. And, when you go on a platform like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, you look through a lot of the photos on there, and a lot of them might be AI, they might not be. But it gets to the point where actually it doesn't matter. But, we'll get to the stage where we go outside to do photography for ourselves and to take photos for ourselves, and Instagram and Twitter and all of those things. Oh, hello.
It's your red alert, Dave.
Is that your alert, Dave?
Yeah, I saw it on the news.
God, that's a bit loud.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the government sending him an alert. He needs to get out of it, get into his barn now.
Well,
I thought it was for...
It's probably
That's the
some
bunker.
weatherman in the southeast has triggered that. I'll have
Somebody
a word
in
with him
Exeter.
later. Sorry, go on, Sam.
No,
That
Dave, hang on. I sent that to you, Dave, because I've just put a new image up.
I thought it was the alarm to say, wrap it up, Sam, you're bullshitting. But but yeah, no, I kind of feel like my own personal thing is I don't really post to I don't post to Twitter. I occasionally post to Instagram. I just looked up just now to see how often I've posted to Instagram. I've posted 7 images to Instagram since the start of the year, and I've taken hundreds of photos this year. And I can't be bothered posting them to Instagram because I don't enjoy the process, and I couldn't really care less about whether or not people are seeing the images or not. I quite like doing YouTube videos every now and again, but I might record a video once every 5 times I go out to do photography. But most of the photography I do, I'm doing it genuinely for myself. And if I take a nice image, I might share it on Instagram. But quite often I'll just be sat on images and I haven't bothered posting them to Instagram because I just can't be bothered. And I don't get much back from sharing it on those platforms. So, and I know that I'm not the same as most people maybe, but for me, it really doesn't matter because I don't feel like those platforms give you a proper validation for your work. And I would gain far more from printing one of my images and sticking it up on my own wall and not sharing it than I would from sticking on Instagram and getting 200 likes.
That's what I do.
Yeah, of people who have glanced at it and spent half a second looking at it and thought, oh, that's pretty, scroll on to the next one. There's no real validation or appreciation for your work on there. So I don't have an interest in sharing it on those platforms. YouTube is different because people engage more with your process, and the sort of videos that I put out and the sort of people that watch my videos, for all 3 of them, they engage with what I'm doing and they appreciate the story behind the photos. And that's why I do the YouTube videos, because I like doing it and I like getting that aside, that sort of putting that side of the photography out there. And that's the whole reason in doing it. And I get more validation from someone commenting on my YouTube video who's watched 10 minutes through of a 15-minute video and said, oh, that photo you took on that hill, Sam, yeah, I really got that, really nice conditions. I get far more from that than someone clicking like on an Instagram post. And yeah, for me, that's the future. And I don't care whether it's 200,000 people commenting on it or 5. If it's 5 people that have really appreciated my image and what I've done, then I get more validation from that than 5,000 likes on Instagram.
Thanks, Sam.
Mic drop.
Thanks a lot, mate. Much appreciated.
I don't have my mic.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we've thoroughly covered that, and you 6 are to be admired.
Executed.
And yes, no, you 6 are to be admired and the standard for the rest of us to follow. Well, we were going to do Watch of the Week, but we've run out of time because we've been going for over 2 hours now. But I want to say, on behalf of us all, I'm sure, thank you, Alister, for coming on. It's genuinely been a pleasure. And, it's been a fantastic chat, even though you've, put me in my place and I've been thoroughly intervened. But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. So thanks very much for coming on. Well, and will you come on again? Of course you will, won't you? Yes.
Alistair's frozen.
I'll think about that.
Think about it. Drop us a message. You'll be fine.
I think I'm doing my hair that week.
Yeah.
I'll have to undelete your email.
Oh dear. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week. And it's just goodbye for now. Goodbye. And we are actually back next week as well, by the way. Because we've been on sort of 2 weekly programs. But I know I was, but I can't. I just wanted to carry it on for a minute. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.